Hi, and welcome to LinkedIn for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Julia Zata, a LinkedIn strategist and ghostwriter, and lover of all things practical when it comes to visibility strategies. This podcast is for service-based business owners who want to build their brand on LinkedIn, attract new clients, collaborators, and speaking engagements without overthinking every post or sounding like a corporate robot. And yes, we're going to keep it actionable and fun. Let's dive in. Today, I want to talk to you about what I would do if I was starting LinkedIn from scratch. And I say this as somebody who started LinkedIn from scratch in 2022 to promote my brand new business as a LinkedIn ghostwriter for founders, consultants, and entrepreneurs. In today's episode, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I took back then to get started on LinkedIn and exactly what I would do today if I were either to pivot my business or to start fresh. And I recommend you listen to this episode if you're a service provider who wants to get clients from LinkedIn but don't know where to start, or if you're a consultant who has a LinkedIn presence but you haven't really been active, or if you're noticing that your posts and your content isn't really getting the traction you feel it deserves. This episode will help you revisit how you're using LinkedIn, spot any gaps in your profile, network, or content, and think about what actions you need to take next. So let's get started. So when I started using LinkedIn, I had an account, but I'd barely used it. So the very first thing that I did was review my connections and decide who I wanted to keep and who I wanted to clean out. Of course, this was easy to do because I only had a couple hundred people there and most of them weren't relevant to where I wanted to go. And so I disconnected from them. I didn't really want them to see what I was posting. I wasn't interested in then interacting with my posts because their networks weren't going to help me professionally. But in your case, your situation might be completely different from mine. So the first thing that I would recommend you do is think about who's in your network right now. Are these people that are relevant to where you want to go? Or are they people who you connected with when you were potentially in a previous role or promoting a completely different business? Because LinkedIn doesn't just look at your profile and the content that you put out there, it also looks at your network, at who you're connected to understand who they need to show your posts to next. So one of the ways to evaluate whether or not your network is currently the kind of people that you want to be talking to is to go into your LinkedIn analytics. In your analytics, you will see that there is the option not only to see how your posts are performing, but there's an option to look at your audience. So when you go into your audience, it'll tell you what is the top demographic of your followers as far as the title of their role. It'll also tell you where they're located and what industry they're in and what their seniority level, what company size they're working in, and whether they're self-employed or come from other companies. So I would definitely review the demographics of followers through your LinkedIn analytics to see if you are currently connected to the people you want to be connected to. An example of this was recently working with a consultant who got great engagement on his posts and offered a lot of value through his posts, but his posts weren't getting as much reach as other people within the organization. And we realized it's because he was still connected to a lot of people in Asia where he had been working previously. However, now he wasn't located in Asia anymore. He's located in London and he wants to be seen by his London connections. So the advice I gave him was build your network locally so that the algorithm understands who to show your post to. That'll probably increase your impressions as well because there's a disconnect between your current audience and the people you want to talk to, right? So for you, this is a reminder to go into your analytics, look at your audience and see who you're connected to and whether or not the people you're connected to now reflect the people you want to talk to. And if not, look for the people you want to connect to that are within your target audience's demographics. So back when I was revamping my LinkedIn in 2022, that's the first thing I did. I cleaned out the connections I didn't want to be connected with anymore, and I started to connect with the people I wanted to be engaging with. And so I built out my network by looking at people who were within my target audience's demographic, reaching out to them, connecting with them, commenting on their posts, and then looking who was active within their community and connecting with those people as well. And that's how I started to build the network I have now, which puts me in direct contact with my ideal client. So that's one thing to look at. And then the next step is to get clear about what you want to be known for. Think about, what kind of things do I want to talk about here on LinkedIn? What do I want clients to come to me for? What do my current clients value about my work? What do prospective clients not know about my work or the industry or the services I provide that they need to know about? This will help you start thinking about what content to start sharing. An easy way to come up with content ideas is just to think about conversations you're having with your clients right now, especially people you're just recently onboarding, because they will have questions or they will have misconceptions about the work you're going to do together that you can start to address in your content already. So the idea here is, when people think of your name, what do you want them to associate you with? For example, for me now, it's LinkedIn Ghostwriter, LinkedIn Expert. I want people to refer to me when they need the type of services that I provide. And I want people to recommend me to their connections when they hear of somebody that needs help with LinkedIn, right? And so that's how I position my profile and my content. So for you, I want you to think about, okay, what content can you share that'll help position you in the way that you want to be perceived now? And how are you going to upgrade your profile so that it reflects the level of expertise you want? And so you've probably heard about the new LinkedIn algorithm. They've given it a name. It's called the 360 Brew. And so what this new algorithm does is it's able to read not just your content, but also your profile. And also it looks at the people you're connected to understand like who they need to show your content to, and to understand what are you an expert in. And it also spots like incongruencies. So if your content doesn't relate to your profile and your positioning and your expertise, then the algorithm is going to be confused as to who needs to see your content, right? So we really need to look at your audience, your profile, and the content you put out there so it's congruent. Back in the day when I revamped my LinkedIn and to get started, what I did was I deleted articles that I'd written that had nothing to do with my new positioning, because I didn't want people to be confused. Because I'd posted so infrequently, that wasn't hard to do. It was just a handful of articles and of posts that I had to go back and delete. So again, you want to look at your content. Have you been posting? Are there things you can go back and potentially delete because they don't really help anybody? I see a lot of people on LinkedIn tend to just repost other people's content without any type of context. They don't share why they're choosing to repost or why they found that piece of information valuable. So if you've been reposting a lot of stuff, I would go back and just delete those, just to kind of clean up your feed a little bit for people who go and look at your profile and your recent posts. And then I would choose the topics I want to be known for and start writing about that. And if you need help with that, I have the LinkedIn Sprint. This is a $37 digital offer where you get 7 LinkedIn post ideas and the opportunity to run your content by me before you hit publish so that you can get my feedback on it. So if you need help with your content, that is the easiest way to get started, and you'll find the link to that in the show notes. And so to recap, you want to make sure that your audience, your content, and your profile are congruent. When you revamp your profile, you want to make sure that it positions you as an expert in a certain niche and that it speaks a specific audience. You want to avoid just listing the services that you offer, and instead you want to talk about the transformation that you provide. What is the impact of what you do? That is what needs to be highlighted in your profile. And then that message gets reinforced by the content you share. And if you need help putting any of this together, this is my zone of genius. I have an offer called the LinkedIn Profile Makeover, which is where I take everything we've just covered and apply it directly to your profile so you don't have to worry about it. So that includes clarifying your positioning so you know exactly what you want to be known for, rewriting your headline and about section so they attract the right people, designing your graphics and visuals so that they're aligned and they help drive people into your funnel, and also creating a content plan that you can then execute so you know what to do next. You can find a link in the show notes to book your LinkedIn profile makeover with me. I would love to work with you. Thanks for tuning in to LinkedIn for Entrepreneurs. If you found this episode helpful, please share it on LinkedIn or on your favorite social media platform. And if you really want to make my day, leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more business owners find this show. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.